Hello, and thank you for joining our Stream of Conscious ADHD podcast. I'm Heidi Faucette, along with my sister Heather. We are Gen X in menopause and, surprise, newly diagnosed with ADHD. Since we found out about our ADHD during the pandemic, we have spent most weekends sitting in my backyard in Brooklyn with our champagne brunch, discussing the impact, the reflections, the grief, the stories. Many adults are now finding they were never diagnosed, so we thought we would bring everyone into our backyard discovery sessions, hoping it will help. We laugh, we cry, we are stream of consciousness conversationalists. We hope you enjoy listening to our discovery and perhaps glean some comfort from it. Here we go, into the backyard.
So the impact of estrogen on ADHD symptoms. We're blaming it on menopause, but I think it's also because the estrogen goes away. It exacerbates the ADHD as well. And that explains why I feel like I'm completely out of my mind.
Like out of your mind, like insane or
I just
overwhelmed?
I feel like the symptoms, I feel overwhelmed so easily. The singing thing has only been in the past 5 years. I just feel like a confluence of ADHD and menopause because of the impact. Like estrogen influences in a positive way. So you see when a kid has crazy ADHD symptoms in school, you get to adulthood, you have tons of estrogen and then it drops off. And then it makes sense that one would see the symptoms rage back again. And I feel like I'm in that space.
And not only rage back, but then magnify it because
menopause.
brain fog and all the things. And then on top of it, chemo brain and
and long COVID.
Yeah, all the things. Yeah.
So I feel like completely overwhelmed by everything right now, like a constant sense of anxiety at all times. Like when I was sitting here just before you got here, I'm like, I have this pit of anxiety and I'm just like, I should just be chilling.
That breaks my heart.
And I thought, let me go take a Xanax. But I'm like, I've been drinking, so I should.
Xanax. But okay.
It's a little miracle worker, but I hear it's habit forming.
Okay.
I've not had an issue with that. Because I can take one a month, or I can take it like 4 days in a row and then not take it again.
But see, and this is the thing that it is part of my why now, is because I want you to be able to experience life without anxiety. And I know that's never going to be a full 100% thing because of cancer.
Yeah.
But I think that if you have a job that what you do is important, but like all the stress and baggage that goes along with it is just not helpful. And
agreed, yeah.
And I just remember being younger and having that black cloud and not knowing how to get away from it. And whatever can be done to sidestep that, it is we need to do. And that's why that's a huge part of my why, because I've always been, and this is part of my ADHD also, that I don't take care of myself. Like the grooming, and Grace is doing the same thing. And I'm like, because that I don't even want to brush my teeth. I'm too tired. I'm going to go to bed. I have to take a shower. God, what a annoying waste of time. And just self-care. Like to me, that is such a strange thing.
And that's such a classic symptom then.
Yeah.
So you're not unusual.
But exactly. But I think that one of my from a very early time, the people I love, I will do whatever it takes to make sure they're okay, even if sometimes it negatively impacts my life. Like,
you do it. Yeah.
Custody of Katie, and you don't know what you're getting into, but to me, it didn't matter. Whatever was more important than.
And you've done it so many times, like working with Danielle, Keith's children. Like you're just trying to have a positive impact in a place where you think it's needed.
And for us now, what I feel like after all of our struggles and whatever, a big part of my why now, and I feel like this is what gives me energy, is you have been through so much and you just deserve to be.
I appreciate that.
Enjoy life. But like when you are able, you have that playful, like the way you are with Jack. You guys are very playful. And that's important.
I forced him to be playful. He was not always playful.
I hope he continues to be. Even one of my Mindset Monday things was We don't stop playing because we get old. We get old because we stop playing.
Mm-hmm. I believe, that resonates with me for sure.
We always joke, oh, we're 5'10" women with the hamstrings of a 5'7" woman. But I'm like, okay, so we're gonna do sit. I don't even know what to call it anymore. She won't let me call it crisscross applesauce because she's in a tween and she just thinks it's a cringe thing for me to say. But you can't say Indian style because that's offensive as well. What do you call that?
Cross-legged.
Cross-legged?
Sounds weird, yes.
Okay. And do you ever find that comfortable?
Oh, no, absolutely not.
Yeah. And especially if you do it the opposite way, then your
Because if
legs
you're right-handed,
oh my
if
God.
you try to do left-handed, no. Of course, there's more studies that are going into this, but there is the concept of this ADHD being coincident with what is something that is called hypermobility, which people understand as being like hyper flexible. Like people who are double jointed, they have this very rubbery skin, and it's different for everyone, but you can be hypermobile and also be not flexible. The hypermobility comes in some joints. Like I feel like I am hypermobile in my neck, where the spaces in between my vertebrae are very like unstable. I like the way you tucked your chin in.
Yes, well, I had to sit up straight after you said that.
And people who are ADHD turn their ankles often, and that's a hypermobility thing. Like Jack in particular, he will turn his ankles often. So it's just about ligaments and joints being unstable. But there's also the concept of, at the same time, you're hypermobile in some areas, and some joints and muscles are offline entirely, which creates this lack of flexibility. So there's muscles that are offline. For instance, in posture,
Right.
This is very tight,
Right.
but this is offline.
Right.
Back here is offline.
Right.
So you have this.
Yeah. So
And then
Heather is slouching right now. But
If these muscles if your lower traps are online,
yeah,
they will hold you up properly instead of your upper traps, which are tight all the time.
and when you go to get a massage that's supposed to be nice and relaxing, and they touch that, sends you through the roof.
Yeah. So it's the neck.
Oh yeah,
the shoulders.
this here, and
And you can do stuff to release that by pushing into this under your collarbone. But the point I'm making is that you're hypermobile in some spaces, but
the opposite.
It is opposite in the others.
Yeah.
And you're unbalanced. It's an
Right.
imbalance because your nervous system is not activating those muscles. So you have to do it.
And your nervous system is not activating those muscles because of an executive function piece of it? Or
See, there's but these are coincident. It's not clear if they're related, not related. But I have been doing these exercises where you're literally just laying on your front and you're doing the Superman's other various exercises to force the lower traps to activate. You're actively trying not to use everything north of the lower traps.
So this is where the BrainWorks people came into play. When I was looking into things for Grace, I was in some seminar and BrainWorks was mentioned, and I went and sat in on a few meetings with them. They meet every Saturday afternoon if you have a kid with ADHD, and actually meet on Monday nights for adult ADHD.
Yep.
So there's all these different movements that she says will help. And it didn't even occur to me why these things would help. And she was talking about the whole tummy time thing. And if you don't build on this, then that will fall behind and then it never gets or developed. And so you literally lay on the floor and you crawl, but you don't crawl like on your hands and knees. It's like tummy time crawling. You just pull yourself forward with your arms and push with your legs, but you don't leave the ground. And you do this for 10 minutes every day, and it builds some
That's what babies do, right?
And,
like before, that's crawling. Before you're like lifting yourself up, you're crawling like you're in the army, right?
Right. Yes, exactly. Yeah. And so I think that is a way to build up those things. I feel like it's very similar for us. Maybe it's because we're related, but
just our core isn't engaged, our glutes are instead holding our body up, and that's not how everybody, and we didn't know.
I get that there are developmental things that children need to do, but there are genes. These are very hereditary things. So even if you're doing the thing, whatever we think can mitigate, these are genes that we are carrying. And I know there was a lot of over the past 20 years, a lot of chatter around vaccines and autism, but they have identified genes that are specific for these things that carry through generations. And there are people out there who think, oh, well, this is just the evolution of people. Our brains are changing, and it's a matter of creating a space for all the brains. And of course, if we want to not have neck pain or have better posture, we will train appropriately, but we just have to adapt to that thing.
Right.
Fine. My lower chaps aren't online under normal circumstances. Well, we have to change the circumstances to accommodate the lower traps now.
Remind me later. We need to talk about how we can do something in Savvy. You and I can get enough down that we could do a course in Savvy where we can help people, because there's nothing out there right now that does that. Although I think this is what BrainWorks is trying to do, but I think that she's taking it on a level that's it's very child-centric instead of just saying, okay, you're 50 years old. You want to improve your posture. You want to...
No, I get you.
Oh my gosh.
Add it to the list.
If only I could just not worry about money and do all the things on my list instead. Oh my gosh, flies. It is spring. It is spring.
Yeah.
Spring is sprung.
Yeah, I had one inside and Cass loved it. They're like, yeah, you're going to chase them.
Oh my gosh.
One fly.
And you'll probably get more flies here than you did in Battery Park City because
we're on the ground level-ish.
And
that's fine because the cats love it.
Yeah, I know. Jasmine did too, but then Grace would get sad when she would catch them. But when we first moved to New York and Lee and I were in the Colonnade, we were on the 5th floor and we were like, there are no bugs. How are there no bugs in New York City? We never got any spiders, any flies, and we would leave our door open and we would never get anything. And we were like,
you should have just embraced.
Yeah, I don't even,
Fast forward, there's all kinds of other bugs.
Yes. And snails and things that I never knew unless you have a backyard.
I just learned recently you should never rip a snail right up.
Oh, right.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Oh.
Because it hurts them.
Yeah.
You gotta hit them with water and loosen. Okay, good. You got that.
Yeah. Oh, I have the videos of that baby that day. It was walking all over its mom. It was the cutest thing I've ever seen. I have to pull that video back out. It just warms your heart. It might go viral.
Yeah. Humans like to think that animals don't have feelings or whatever. But everybody's the same. The babies are hanging on their moms.
Yeah.
So just be cool.
So I have to ask, do you think...
Absolutely.
This is a loaded question because... Well, now I have to give background to this before you answer it. So back when it was either right when Heather moved to Manhattan or she was still visiting because I moved up here a few years before she did. And I even remember where we were standing. We were standing outside that gas station garage place. And
Fear factoring?
Yes. Do you think that?
Yes. Well, okay. It was a combination of loud. Well, but I mean,
Grace's experience in that moment. Yes, I get that it was like okay. So what we're saying
that's the thing. Grace, if there's background noise, she can't really hear you,
right?
And I had this thought as well. It's is fear factor. Which is
we still haven't explained it yet.
Yeah, I don't know if I can explain.
I can.
Okay, go.
Okay, so we were standing.
One of the literal terms was fear factor. No.
What
you heard?
You thought I said fear factor.
Okay.
So, and this is probably a good thing, and I actually do it sometimes now with Grace, but where somebody will say something, and you don't hear, you think you heard what they said, but it's something so obscure that you're quite sure that's not actually what they said. But you say what you think you heard so that they understood that you did not hear what they said. So I said something to Heather and she said, fear factor. And I'm like, I did not freaking say fear factor. And so I had to tell her. So then it became a thing where
anytime she would not understand me or vice versa, we would say to each other what we thought we heard, and it was obscure enough that we realized the person did not actually hear us.
Yeah, we would laugh and be like, oh, that's a fear
No, I mean, my gosh, this has carried on for over 10 years now. It's been great. But I've started doing this with Grace where she will say something, and instead of saying, can you enunciate better, or can you say that again? It just gets frustrating, especially in the morning. She just is like a mumble person.
So you just say what you think.
I say what I
heard.
think that she said, and sometimes we'll have one of those laughing fits during it as well. Because it's much better than having to say, can you say that again?
What? Because then
Can you enunciate? That's the other thing. It's the enunciation. And so,
because if you say what, she says it exactly the same way.
Yes.
And then you're like, I need you to either speak louder or enunciate.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And I know because of the auditory. Oh, look at his little paw. Oh,
What thing's so cute?
we're looking at a squirrel. I don't know.
It's up there.
It might be the dog on the second floor. I'm not tallying dogs, but the one above. Anyway, we're watching a squirrel.
We should take a
there's
picture
bubbly in
so
there.
we can share.
Well, you're going to have to take a picture because I don't know if it'll do it while I'm recording. And there he goes. Bye, Murray.
This is what we're looking at. We're just going to take it's a picture of just a snarl, but
right. You got to zoom in. She's like, I can't zoom.
Where did he go?
Oh, look at his little underbelly.
Oh,
He's so
that's cute right there.
How you doing, this little paw?
How did I get that? Oh, man.
I don't know. He's hiding behind the pole now.
There he is.
Anywho.
I'll send this so you can include it with your...
Oh, we're about to run out in 30 minutes.
It's all up.
So,
Well, that's a long time.
I mean, 30 seconds.
Oh.
So maybe we talk about the fear factor in our next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because and we can look it up in the meantime. So next time.
Peace.
Peace out. Our reason for this podcast is to support and uplift women in recognizing the impact undiagnosed ADHD has on their lives and to know that they're not alone. Discovery and grieving for what life could have been if we had only known and had help can be hard sometimes. If you have any thoughts you would like to share, you can email us at genx.adhd.sisters@gmail.com. Thank you for listening. #Gen X ADHD Sisters.